Hello there guys and welcome to the channel. Now yesterday we did see deep dives which actually gave us almost a full picture of Spider-Man 2099's abilities. However, we were still missing some bits of information like prestige, full durations of the debuffs and so on and so forth. So now we have the official spotlights out. I will keep it relatively brief because, as I said, at this point it would kind of feel redundant to go in depth in all of the abilities since most of them were flushed out yesterday. Let's start with the prestige. So 10,630 as maxed out 5-star, 13,680 as rank 3 6-star, and at rank 3 6-star he would rank somewhere, once again let's put it 200 rows here, 680, so he should be around spot number 20 or so in the game, so it's definitely not bad, but nothing kind of like incredibly amazing prestige wise. So neither of these two champions are going to be prestige powerhouses like Hercules. And let's talk about his strengths and his abilities. So obviously he's a science class. Strengths: opponents with power gain. Spider-Man 2099's Wither is so powerful that one stack is strong enough to reverse any power gain on the opponent. Cool, yeah, that's good. Resonate and Despair Mastery, friendly. That is, yeah, okay, cool. Spider-Man 2099 greatly benefits from stacking as many debuffs on opponent as possible. The Resonate Mastery makes it easier to accomplish, and Despair further capitalize on debuff stacking. Okay. Half a point there, but okay. Weakness: Purify. Spider-Man 2099 needs to keep the opponent debuffed in order to maximize his damage. Removing those debuffs causes his damage to decrease. Dots that deal direct damage. His resistances won't be able to do much against damage or time effects that deal direct damage. There we go. Right, so actual abilities. And we went over this yesterday pretty much. So basically he does not gain any buffs. Instead of gaining a buff, he would pause all his personal debuffs for 5 seconds. Keep in mind it states personal debuffs, so it's unlikely that it will interact with debuffs from nodes or Mr. Fantastic abilities, stuff like that. While dodging backwards, Spider-Man 2099 is not struck by attacks, so it's basically Nightcrawler ability. And he basically does not need dexterity in order to dodge attacks as well. Gain 75% damage resistance if the opponent is under the effect of True Strike or if the hit deals true damage. Okay. That will be annoying fighting against him, but we'll see. The developers note any buff from any source will trigger this debuff pausing ability. Cool. Rupture, max 20 stacks. Light and medium attacks have 25% chance to inflict rupture, dealing 505 physical damage over 10 seconds. 100% chance to inflict rupture on block if the opponent is suffering from a Wither debuff. An opponent takes a burst of 758 physical damage for each rupture on them if they reach 0 power or if they gain a full bar of power. Ruptures are consumed after this effect takes place. Cool. You can prevent this consumption with your SIG ability, which you're going to get to in a moment. Heavy attacks inflict an exhaustion debuff, decreasing critical damage rating by 64.95 for 15 seconds. Resistance up. By the way, for those of you who do not, oh yeah, here you go. Crit damage rating decrease. Resistance up. When attacked, there is a 100% chance to gain an indefinite resistance up passive, increasing physical resistance by 87.5 and energy resistance by 56.06. Interrupting Spider-Man 2099 while he's charging a heavy attack removes all resistance up stacks. If at least 20 stacks were removed, this way he inflicts a Wither debuff, reducing ability power rate by 150% for 20 seconds. When Spider-Man 2099 pauses his personal debuffs, he consumes 5 stacks of resistance up and increases the pause duration by 5 seconds. This effect has 10-second cooldown. Cool. As an attacker, resistance up is better used as a resource that helps increase the duration of the debuff pauses. It usually is not worth saving it for its defensive value. Probably. Special 1. Last 3 hits have 100% chance to inflict physical vulnerability debuff, decreasing physical resistance by 233. Max stacks 15. Actually, with 15 max stacks, it could be quite interesting numbers that we could see from the ruptures. But yeah, that would mean 5 level 1s at the very minimum. On activation, gain 15 stacks of resistance up, passive increasing physical resistance by 87 and energy resistance by 56. Okay, let's move on. Maximum pressure. On activation, inflicts with a debuff reducing ability power rate by 150% for 15 seconds, max 5 stacks. Each hit deals a burst of 947 physical damage per unique debuff on the opponent. That's like your damage special attack. Special 3 inflicts slow for 4 seconds. Inflicts stun debuff for 4 seconds. Also inflicts slow debuff lasting 25 seconds. Reducing unstoppable and evade ability accuracy by 100%. Slow won't trigger against natural class advantage. Slow counts as 4 unique debuffs. And that is the worst place where to put on slow, by the way. Signature ability, persistent ruptures. Ruptures have 80% chance to not be consumed when a burst of physical damage triggers, plus 25% combat power rate while the opponent is affected by Wither debuff. And then synergy bonuses. He actually, well, we're gonna go over his synergies in a second. Right, so reading his abilities fully, I pretty much have not changed my opinion of him at all. Maybe with the idea that since you can stack up to 15 of the physical vulnerabilities on level 1, that can open avenues of significantly higher damage output in long fights, because you can keep spamming your level 1, and then your ruptures will deal more damage because they deal physical damage. So there is a chance that his damage numbers might be significantly better than we initially saw in the deep dive if you ramp him up. But that is kind of the annoying part here with the champion, I think, as well. So his ideal rotation basically requires you to drop a few heavy attacks, drop a level 1, get level 3, drop that, then level 2. So 1, 3, 2, that would be 6 bars of powers that you would have to gain to get ramped up, which is really quite a lot. Which is the reason why, let's say, War Machine is not nowhere near as popular his kit would let him be. Because, well, War Machine, it's 7 bars of power. It's 2 level 2s and a level 3, and then potentially even a level 1 afterwards. But yeah, that's basically like 7 bars of power. His champions, even with 3 bars of power, in order to get any meaningful numbers, quite often don't really get used. Champions who lock a lot of their, or most of their damage behind level 3, like, I don't know, Namor. Namor doesn't really get used all that much for that reason, because you do very, very little damage until you reach level 3. So Namor gets used for his niche, unique utility, but never specifically for damage, because that loop is too long. Similar reason to Iron Man Infinity War and a whole bunch of other champions. Now, you do get increased combat power rate, but it's 25%. It's not really all that much, to be honest. Overall, from what I see so far, do I see some use for him? Yes, of course. He seems that he will be good when it comes to dealing with power gain effects. He will be good for the fights that Dr. Octopus is good for, but Dr. Octopus is pretty much able to activate it automatically and instantly. He will be good for the fights that become Mr. Fantastic or Void or just flat out power control. Right, ultimately, I do think that there will be some relatively interesting combinations, but at best, I can only see him be a really good option for extremely niche scenarios. For everything else that he does, I think that there is a plethora of champions that will do it better, quicker, more consistent, with less counters and less requirements and quicker setup. Even if his damage is good, which I now think could be significantly better than it initially appeared in longer fights, due to the ability to stack up these physical resistance, physical vulnerabilities. I genuinely don't see any mainstream day-to-day use for him at all. Now, he's a champion I'd like to have access to, but he's probably not a champion that I'll end up using a lot. That's what I think so far. Again, obviously, this is just the very beginning of the journey with this champion. We still need to get our hands on him. We still need to see him in action. Still need to see actual real numbers on the field, how long it takes for him to set up, and all that other stuff. So far, unfortunately, I don't see a clear path for this guy to become wildly and commonly used champion. Kind of unfortunate because I know that he's a real fan favorite. Let's take a look at a couple of synergies. So let's go with Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2099 gain 100% evade chance to evade the first time he's struck in a fight. And that is only evade on his kit. He's actually a Spider-Man with no evade abilities at all in his base kit, which is quite unique. Spider-Man's Spider-Gwen, blah blah blah, gain an unstoppable passive for 1 second after an evade triggers. Kind of neat, I guess, but you know. Okay. Symbiote problems with Venom and Carnage. Special attack 3 inflicts poison debuff, dealing 85% of attack direct damage, reducing health recovery by 30% for 25 seconds. Now that is cool because that gives him another personal debuff. That is definitely awesome. That is quite good synergy. But again, unfortunately, it's on level 3. Venom on a heavy attack gain an aptitude buff, increasing the effect of Fury, Armor, and Precision debuffs by 50% for 10 seconds. This effect has 10-second cooldown. Now here is the most important thing, because aptitude buff doesn't work retroactively, but aptitude buff effects linger after the buff itself has expired if the Fury had been activated whilst the aptitude buff is active. So in the case of Venom right here, the plan is going to be when you drop your heavy attack and then drop a level 2, all of those Fury buffs will gain the 50% bonus, even if that aptitude buff ends up expiring first. Or additionally, if you drop a heavy attack immediately at the beginning of every fight, and then you naturally start generating your Furies and your precision buffs, all of them will be 50% more potent from this point forward. So that actually could be quite crazy good for Venom, I think. I really do think it's awesome for Venom. Synergy for Carnage is absolutely useless because Carnage already has so much attack modifiers, it really will not make any difference. Carnage has, a ton of cruelties and furies that he can get to, so yeah, it really doesn't matter. AI enthusiast is Spider-Man Second Hand, Spider-Man, there we go. Second medium attacks have 25% chance to trigger Spider-Man's debuff pausing. That's neat. Spider-Man Second Hand gets Bulwark that increases block proficiency. Good on him. Also, word on the street is that we're gonna get a 6-star version of him very, very soon. My bet is on an arena coming next month. Just guessing though. Scarlet Witch Classic, when granting a buff on herself, gain 15% of a bar of power or 3 seconds. Neat. Iron Man Heavy Attack inflicts power drain, removing 50% of opponent's current power over 5 seconds, but it's an Iron Man, man. The dude needs a rework in the synergy. Co-workers is Sabretooth, Longshot, and Psylocke. Okay, gains 85 critical rating per unique debuff on the opponent. This one's actually quite good. This one is quite good. Can't lie, that looks quite good for Spider-Man. For Sabretooth, 10% to grant regeneration passive. But, that's quite shit. Longshot, when Longshot nullifies regeneration buff, you get 1 for 5%. You know, it's neat, it's nothing crazy. Psylocke, attacking an opponent with 0 power, reduce their defensive ability accuracy by 50%. That's, well, Psylocke, but it's quite good because she already has defensive ability accuracy reduction in her signature, I think. So you could potentially shut down opponent's defensive ability accuracy 100%. But still, it's Psylocke. I don't see her being used much just because of it. Anyhow, that is it for the Spidey. And ultimately, I am slightly pessimistic with his chances to make any meaningful impact in contest. But again, this is by no means my final judgment call. And I'm going to have to wait and see how he actually behaves in the game. That is it for this video. I'm going to make a quick one for Penny Parker. And then I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about